Have you ever opened your closet and stood there quietly, not knowing what to wear? Not because you didn't have enough clothes, but because none of them felt like you anymore. Not the old blouses, not the stiff jackets, not the trendy things your daughter once said looked young. Just silence and a soft ache for something that fits who you are now. This video isn't about chasing fashion or hiding age. It's about softening back into your style, one that carries grace, comfort, and the quiet confidence that only comes with time. We'll explore 10 casual yet classy outfit reminders, not to impress others, but to reconnect with the woman still blooming underneath. I remember my neighbor Elaine. She's 74 now. One morning I saw her tending roses in her front yard, wearing a flowy cotton dress, white sneakers, and a light scarf tied gently around her neck. She looked so at ease, so whole. I told her so, and she smiled, wiping a bit of soil off her hand, and said, "I dress like this now because I want to feel like myself, not the version others expect, but the one I finally like waking up to." That stayed with me. Because at some point, style stops being about what's in and becomes about what brings you home to yourself. So if you've been wondering how to dress, not younger but truer, you're in the right place. Let's begin. 2. A white tee is never just a white tee. To some, a white tee is just a white tee. Simple, basic, ordinary. But after 60, the simplest things often carry the most meaning. A good white tee isn't loud. It doesn't try to stand out. It just lets you be. It moves with you, through errands, through slow mornings, through moments when you want to feel clean, grounded, and quietly alive. I remember my friend Carol, 70, folding laundry one afternoon. She held up one of her many white tees, soft from wear, loose at the shoulders. I asked why she always wore them. She smiled, the way only someone who's done a lot of living can, and said, "Because when everything else feels like too much, I put this on, and it's enough." That stayed with me, because for many women, especially after 60, getting dressed can become surprisingly complicated. Our bodies change. Our energy shifts. We question whether we should still try, or if anyone notices anymore. And in that quiet uncertainty, something simple, like a white tee, becomes an anchor. It pairs with anything, yet it asks for nothing. You can tuck it into high-waisted jeans and add loafers for a polished look. Or wear it under a cardigan for a walk to the library. It doesn't beg for compliments. It just says, "I'm here, I'm real, and I'm enough just as I am." So no, a white tee is never just a white tee. It's a decision to live lightly, to simplify, to be honest, and sometimes to be quietly radiant in the plainest of things. We don't choose basics because we've run out of options. We choose them because we've stopped needing to prove anything. And when we start dressing for how we want to feel, not just how we want to look, our clothes begin to support movement, not just appearance. Let's talk about that next. 3. The beauty of movement-friendly clothes. There's something sacred about clothing that lets you move, not just walk, but bend, reach, kneel, breathe. After 60, it's no longer about standing still to look good. It's about wearing something that lets you keep moving through life, freely, softly, fully. We've worn the tight waistbands, the stiff jackets, the skirts that tug every time we sit. But now, there's a quiet joy in slipping into linen pants that sway with each step, or a tunic that doesn't cling, just drapes, like it understands the gentle slope of your shoulders, the quiet curve of your story. I once spent a spring morning with my friend Marie, 67, helping her plant herbs in her back porch garden. She wore wide-leg cotton trousers, a chambray shirt rolled at the sleeves, and soft-soled shoes. Nothing fancy, but every movement, crouching, reaching, laughing, looked effortless. When I told her that, she said, "I dress for the version of me that still wants to get on the floor with my grandkids." And isn't that it? We're not dressing for show anymore. We're dressing for life, for hugging without pinching, for walking farther than planned, for saying yes to that impromptu picnic or neighborhood walk. Many women silently mourn the shift in their bodies, the slowing down, the softening. But what if, instead of fighting that, we chose to support it? To move with our bodies, not against them. Movement-friendly clothes don't mean frumpy, they mean kind. They say, go ahead, stretch, reach, live. And there's something deeply elegant about a woman who still moves with ease because her clothes allow her to. We don't dress to hold still, we dress to keep saying yes to life. And sometimes saying yes begins with a simple layer, a piece that holds you when the weather shifts or when your heart needs a little extra warmth. Let's talk about that next. 4. Layering for weather and for feelings. Layering isn't just about keeping warm, it's about creating space, a little extra softness between you and the world. At this stage in life, we've learned to prepare for more than just the weather. There are days the sky is clear, but our hearts feel tender. And on those days, a light cardigan or a soft shawl isn't just practical. It's emotional. It's a quiet form of protection, a way to wrap ourselves in something gentle when the world feels just a bit too loud. I remember a chilly morning last fall. My neighbor Jean, 72, was heading to her late husband's memorial bench at the park. She wore a simple blouse, comfortable jeans, and a deep burgundy poncho that moved like a memory in the wind. She said, "I wear this when I want to feel held, even when I'm alone." I nodded. No words needed. That's the secret many women learn after 60. Layering isn't about hiding. It's about honoring how we feel. It lets us adjust throughout the day, not just to the changing air, but to our changing hearts. And it's versatile. A denim jacket can add structure. A soft wrap can soften everything else. A silk scarf can become both an accent and a comfort. It's style, yes, but it's also self-care. We don't layer to cover who we are. We do it to carry who we've become, gently. And when we feel safely held, in fabric or in feeling, we begin to let color return. Not loudly, but lovingly. Let's talk about that next. 5. Don't fear color. Let it heal you. There's a strange thing that happens after 60. Some women start to avoid color, as if softness in age must come with fading into beige. But color isn't something we outgrow. If anything, it becomes more sacred. Because color holds memory. It holds emotion. It holds the parts of us still alive and singing. I remember Ruth, 71, telling me she stopped wearing red after retirement. I thought it was too loud for my age, she said. But one morning, she wore a crimson scarf to our book club, and the room lit up, not because of the scarf, but because of her. She looked in the mirror and said, almost surprised, "I feel like myself again." That's what color does. It brings us back to who we were and who we still are. The soft blue that reminds you of your wedding day, the golden yellow that echoes your mother's kitchen curtains, the gentle green that feels like spring, even in winter. We don't need to wear color head to toe. Sometimes just a pop, a scarf, a necklace, a lining, is enough to shift something inside. Many women silently fear that color will make them stand out too much. But here's the truth. You've spent a lifetime earning your presence. You don't have to apologize for being seen. We don't wear color to be noticed. We wear it to remember we're still alive. And when your color shows up in something as simple as a pair of shoes, well, that's a kind of beauty too. Let's take a step in that direction next. 6. Shoes that know your path. At a certain age, shoes stop being just accessories. They become companions. You begin to care less about how they look on the shelf, and more about where they'll carry you, how gently they'll hold your feet when the day gets long. Gone are the days of pointy heels and stiff soles. Now, we long for shoes that remember we've walked through decades of work, of caregiving, of starting over. Shoes that know the quiet joy of a morning walk, the ache of standing too long at a family gathering, the peace of moving slowly through the aisles of a Sunday farmer's market. My dear friend Margaret, 74, has a pair of soft leather slip-ons she wears almost everywhere. They're a little scuffed now, the stitching slightly worn, but she refuses to replace them. "These shoes have taken me to my grandbaby's first steps," she once whispered. "They've stood by me at my husband's grave. They've been to the beach, to the hospital, to the grocery store when I just needed to feel normal." She doesn't see them as shoes. She sees them as witnesses. Many women after 60 feel unsure. Should I still care what's fashionable? Do I have to choose between comfort and style? But here's the truth. The most stylish thing you can wear is alignment, when your body and your soul agree. And the right pair of shoes can make that agreement feel like a promise. Flats with arch support, low heels that don't punish you for standing tall, sneakers that don't scream sporty but whisper ready. These aren't compromises, they're affirmations of dignity, of movement, of self-respect. We don't wear shoes to look busy. We wear them to keep showing up, softly, steadily, wherever life calls next. And sometimes, life calls us to soften not just our steps, but the way we dress entirely, starting with something as graceful as a dress that breathes with us. Let's move into that next. 7. Dresses that breathe with you. There's something quietly powerful about a dress that moves with you, not clings to you, not controls you, but simply breathes with you. Gone are the days when a dress needed to be tight to be considered pretty. Now it's about how it feels on the skin, how it flows when you walk, how it lets you be, instead of asking you to become someone else. My friend Joni, 69, has this soft navy blue maxi dress. She wears it when hosting tea with her sisters, when tending to the lavender on her porch, and sometimes just when she wants to feel at ease. "It doesn't ask anything of me," she once said, smoothing the fabric over her lap. "It just says, you're enough, right now, just like this." And isn't that what many of us secretly long for? Clothes that don't ask us to shrink, to pull in, to hold our breath, but instead invite us to exhale, to sit comfortably, to walk into a room without adjusting ourselves, to be held without feeling restricted. After 60, our bodies carry stories. Soft bellies from children held close, gentle lines from decades of smiles and tears. Dresses that breathe with us say, your story belongs here, not hidden, not edited, just embraced. Light cotton, soft jersey, linen that flows like wind. These aren't just fabrics, they're freedom. We don't wear dresses to impress. We wear them to feel free inside our own skin. And when you have one outfit that does that, just one you can count on, it can change your entire day. Let's talk about how signature looks do more than save time. They offer peace. 8. Signature looks make life easier and softer. There's a quiet magic in finding your signature look, that one outfit formula that just feels like home, not because it's trendy, not because someone told you it's flattering, but because when you wear it, something inside you exhales. A signature look is more than habit. It's emotional clarity. It's choosing fewer things so you can feel more of yourself. I have a dear neighbor, Dorothy, 73, widowed, kind eyes. Every time I see her at the Sunday market, she's in a navy knit sweater, soft gray trousers, and a cream scarf tied loosely at her neck. Nothing flashy, but always composed, always calm. One morning I asked, "You always look so steady. Don't you ever get tired of wearing the same thing?" She smiled gently and said, "This is what lets me feel like me, even on the hard days." Many women over 60 carry the weight of too many choices. Closets full of clothes, yet nothing to wear. Because the world taught us to dress for every role: mother, wife, professional, caregiver. But somewhere along the way, we forgot to dress for the quietest version of ourselves. Your signature look doesn't have to be boring. It can be a soft blouse that falls just right, a shade of olive green that brings out your eyes, flats you trust, even on your most tired days. It's about ease, grace, the peace of knowing you don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. We don't repeat outfits because we've given up. We do it because we've come home to what we truly need. And when dressing becomes that gentle, that intuitive, even the most casual moments begin to feel sacred. Next, let's explore how casual can still hold care, and even quiet elegance. 9. Casual doesn't mean careless. Somewhere along the way, casual became a word we whispered with guilt, as if dressing comfortably meant you'd stopped caring. But real elegance, the kind that survives decades and seasons, often comes not from extravagance, but from quiet intention. Casual doesn't mean careless. It means, I've earned the right to soften. It means, I no longer need to be uncomfortable to be worthy. Take my neighbor, Eileen. She's 76 now. Every Friday morning, she walks her golden retriever down Maple Avenue. She wears soft beige joggers, a pale blue sweater that matches her eyes, and white slip-on sneakers. Hair pulled back, skin fresh with a little tinted balm. Nothing fancy. But when she waves to passers-by, there's grace in her presence. I once asked her if she planned her outfits. She said, "No, I just reach for what feels like kindness on my skin. That's my only rule now." That kind of thinking is rare in a world obsessed with put together. But maybe after 60, being put together looks more like being put at ease. It's a shift that many women fear at first, letting go of heels, giving away stiff blazers, realizing you no longer care what's trending. But underneath that fear is freedom. Because casual style isn't about dressing down, it's about dressing true, choosing soft fabrics that breathe, colors that calm rather than shout, shoes that hold you, not hurt you. And yes, you may no longer need to dress to impress, but you can still dress to express. Warmth, ease, readiness, peace. When you choose a casual look with care, a clean tee instead of the faded one, a cardigan with weight and story, trousers that don't bind, you're telling the world, I'm here, I still carry beauty, and I still choose to greet my day with dignity. It's not about being noticed. It's about being aligned with how you live, how you feel, and how gently you want to move through the world. We don't dress well to impress others. We dress well to remind ourselves we're still worth showing up for. And often, that quiet sense of showing up is sealed with a scent, not for the world, but for your memory. Let's explore that next. 10. Style is still a way to say, I'm here. There's a quiet moment many women face after 60, one that rarely gets spoken aloud. It's not a crisis exactly, more like a soft ache. You walk into a room and no one quite sees you. You speak and sometimes it lands like a whisper. There's no malice in it, just time moving forward and a world distracted by the noise of youth. But the ache is real, and in that quiet, many women start pulling back, from lipstick, from jewelry, from the little things that once made them feel like themselves. It can happen so subtly you don't even notice. One day you realize you haven't worn your favorite color in months. You've stopped choosing earrings. You rotate the same 3 tops, even though your closet holds more. You start saying, oh, it's just me, it doesn't matter. But it does, and deep down you know it. Because style, even now, especially now, is still one of the gentlest ways to say, I'm here. Not to shout for attention, but to honor your presence. My friend Miriam, 72, recently began wearing her silk scarves again. When I asked her what changed, she said, I realized I've been showing up for everyone my whole life, kids, grandkids, my late husband. And somewhere along the line, I stopped showing up for myself. Her scarf wasn't about vanity. It was about reclaiming something she'd once loved for no one else but her. And that's the point. When we choose what to wear with care, when we pick out a blouse that drapes gently over soft skin, or apply a bit of lipstick not for others, but because we love the way it lifts our mood, we are saying to ourselves, you're still in here, and I see you. This isn't about fashion. It's about remembrance of who you are, of what still brings you joy, of the dignity you've carried through seasons of life that asked everything of you. Style at this age is less about turning heads and more about turning back toward yourself. We don't dress to be noticed. We dress to not disappear from our own lives. And when you give yourself permission to be seen, even softly, even quietly, it unlocks something far deeper than style. It brings you home. In the next part, let's gently reflect on what elegance really means and why it has very little to do with perfection. So maybe today you opened your closet and felt tired, not because you didn't have anything to wear, but because nothing felt quite like you. That's okay. That's more common than we admit. Style, like life, is a process of coming back to ourselves, layer by layer, season by season. What we wear doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to feel honest. Soft trousers that say, "I'll move with you today." A blouse that rests gently, not to impress, but to comfort. A pair of shoes that don't hurry your steps, but honor the path you've walked. There's no single right way to age, but there are softer ways to carry yourself through it, with intention, with light, with dignity that doesn't need to sparkle, because it glows from within. And maybe that's the quiet wisdom style gives us after 60. Not how to be seen, but how to stay connected. To our bodies, to our truth, and to the soft rituals that remind us we still matter. We don't dress up to prove something. We dress up to feel whole again. Thank you for spending this time with me. And if today's words felt like a warm cup of tea to your spirit, I hope you'll come back. There's always more to gently uncover. Together.